Hey everybody, welcome to the next topic of marketing. What I want to do is put it right out there, right at the beginning, what we'll have as an evaluation in this topic. Because as we go through some information, some of which I'm going to produce and some to save time has been produced by others, I want you to be able to listen for the key things that I'm going to ask you to produce. So the first thing you have to understand is that at the end, I'm going to ask you to make a marketing plan. And a marketing plan consists of basically you describing two important things: what you've decided to do, and two, why you've decided to do it in each of the 4 P's they're called in the marketing mix. Now, some of those terms don't make sense yet, but they will. So pause the video, go back and write down what I just said, because that's what you need to pay attention for anytime somebody's talking about those 4 P's, what they are, the considerations you have to think about, right? What you have to take into consideration so that when you do your assignment and you come up with your own marketing plan, you can say why you decided to do what you did and get a good mark, if you like, right? And understand marketing because it's a major part of business. So on that note then, what's marketing? I'm going to go through the first PowerPoint slide that I normally would go through in class. This tends to be a very interactive unit that because it's given me some trouble trying to adapt it to the digital universe, but we'll do our best. What I want to mention just right now, just in case, if you're thinking about business as something to do after high school, marketing is actually something that incorporates a lot of different fields. So for example, marketing is about convincing people that your product is great, or that it's telling them how great it is or how it's improved. And that also involves a lot of listening. It involves a lot of social science. So people with sociology degrees, psychology degrees, they work on what do people need, why, what makes them happy. They also, marketing incorporates engineers. So if consumers say, I don't like the way this product does this, then somebody has to figure out a way to design the product better. You can't sell a product unless you can cover your costs. So there's all sorts of people who are numbers oriented who are also within the marketing realm too. So there's a lot of different ways that you can work in the field. So you don't have to just be a numbers person to work in business. Marketing and human resources and management, they have all these different sort of aspects for potential future careers in marketing. So on that note, let's move on. Remember, whole time, your assignment is to do a marketing plan. So listen for that. Take some jots with that in mind as you watch some of the videos over the next week or so. So if you look up here on the list, and it'll look a little bit different when you see it, but right now there's this intro video, which is video 9, and then there's going to be this marketing intro PowerPoint slide thingy that I used to do. What I want to do is just tell you what you need to know out of this, because you don't need to know, you have to pay attention to every slide. So the first thing, you definitely don't need to pay attention to any of these slides. You should know just terminology. What's the difference between a logo and a brand? And one of our videos is going to be branding, so I'm not going to really go into it. But branding is more your comprehensive image, whereas a logo is literally just a graphical image. Sometimes even a trademark can be a slogan that goes with it, right? So those are just logos, whereas there's some that are just iconic, some have words, right? That's the difference between a logo and branding, which is your whole image, the whole package. This is important when you have to come up with your product and understand that product also means a service. It can be a service. So your good or your service, it can be something totally new or it can be something old that is renewed. Because products go through what's called a life cycle, as you can see. They're born, they're conceived of for the first time. And then they go through this, they start to catch on. They go through this growth phase, noticing that the height of the curve is how many people are buying the product or the service. And then they get into maturity. And understand these aren't equal in length. The growth phase could last for decades. And the maturity, it could be for decades, right? Like the automobile is a mature product, but it's been mature for lifetimes. Now that's not to say that a car in 1980 was the same as a car in 1960, which is the same as a car now. They changed quite dramatically, right? So that's an example then of the last phase where you start to go in decline, but then you reinvent yourself. Again, we're probably there towards that. Either you go into decline or you reinvent the product and start kind of over again. So combustion cars being replaced with some other kind of electric vehicle, right? Greener vehicles. or like incredibly simple 1950s or 60s cars compared with the cars of, 2010, 2020s. So that slide's important that you understand that concept, because you don't necessarily have to invent a totally new idea to do your marketing plan assignment for. You can invent an old one that's kind of tired and maybe spruce it up, reinvent it, rethink it. Right? That's a great way to come up with new ideas. What is something that me or my family or friends use all the time, but it sucks? And how can I make it better? Because that's really what marketing people do. This is the slide. So this is the marketing mix. So if you're listening still and not asleep, there's two mixes in this topic that you have to be aware of. One is the marketing mix. And in the marketing mix, as you can see, there are 4 P's. There is also the promotional mix, which is part of this P at the bottom, promotion. So don't get confused between the two. So the marketing mix is the big idea. This is the marketing mix. The promotional mix is kind of how you decide to do your promotion. So it's one of the P's in the marketing mix. Got it? So again, I got another more in-depth video that talks about each of these P's in turn, so I'm not going to go into detail now, but this is an important slide. So jot that down until you get to the video that goes into more depth. And this is when you do your marketing plan assignment, this is what you have to focus on. So price. What have you decided about price and why? Justify. Incorporating as much of the knowledge from the videos and any activities we have to prove to me you understand how to apply the knowledge of what price is within the mix. Make sense? Okay. 2 C's. Most people don't use the 2 C's. The marketing mix is 4 P's, no C's. This slide, you can kibosh. Get it out of there. We don't need that. Don't care. Right? So really, the 2 slides you need to focus on is this one, the product life cycle, this one, and then just be aware of the difference between a logo and branding. That's it. So what you should do next then is video 10. And video 10 comes from a learning resource that our board subscribes to, right? So you can watch, I'll even click on it for you. It's hosted within our Google Classroom. You should see something that looks like this, and it may ask you for, to watch this video, it's gonna ask you for a password login. The password and login should be your school login and password. Should be. If not, send me an email or check our frequently asked questions page, because by the time I've had 30 emails, I'll have figured out the answer and put it there. But it should be your school login, same as what you would use to get into your school Gmail. Right? So when you watch this, what comes up, it's a playlist. It's asking me for my login as well. So it's going to have segments. I want you for this video to watch all of them, but there'll be a few videos. So read the syllabus. There'll be a few videos where I don't need you to watch the whole thing, just a couple of segments. Okay? So on that note, so for example, here was where you could watch the video. If you have trouble understanding, there's a transcript where the words are highlighted as the person speaks. And the segments, you can click and go right to them. And sometimes the video ends at the end of a segment. No worries, just click the next segment. Make sense? As usual, any questions, just fire them away at me. All right, good luck.